Hey peepskis, so in this video we're going to show you how to analyze and understand any primitive art around your home, because all based on the same basic concepts. It's just so easy, it's so fun. So here we have this. So I picked up that off eBay, and what do you think it is? Well, it's obviously a Mondrian-esque type antlers, right? Well, it's more than that. Satan, the underworld god, and from him springs the tree of life upon which a bird is perched. I mean, why would a bird be on animal antlers, you see? You see it sometimes, but this is the tree of life, the tree of Eden, and new life. This is often the god of life and death. And you see the horns in Çatalhöyük in Turkey, ancient Turkey, 6000 BC. And these were around people, decorating people's homes, just like hunting lodges today, just like people use them today. So I'm going to go over here, and so over here I got this tapestry, this big tapestry that I found, and it's behind my TV. What I do is I actually put the lights on, so like but okay, so we've got the rams again, the Satan and the human together. But what I really wanted to show you was this innocent looking chevron. Now, this chevron, or whatever it is, it's not chevron. It's a vase. The vase, the water goddess, the female. The female is obviously the goddess of water. Females are a little bit leaky. So what happens is you have three heads. It's like a triple goddess around this. And I don't know why horses are used, but that's perfectly innocent diagram is essentially a triple goddess. It's just fascinating. So I'm just going to show you over here. Right, over here. So here we have, do you see that? That is a money frog, but it's more than just a money frog. Now, it's sitting on top of money. It's Chinese god. Have this in your house, you'll be rich. Well, it's green, so it's a green man, but here's the thing. It's sitting basically on top of a mountain, so world mountain. It's guarding a treasure just like the dragon does in Nordic mythology, right? That's a clue. And if it's a dragon, then this is the serpent of Eden. And it's also guarding a tree of Eden, possibly, because it's a green man. And so this is the guardian of all wealth, the guardian of the Garden of Eden. This is the snake. It looks innocent enough, but that is the snake of Eden, transfixed into Chinese mythology. It's just so fascinating. Over here we have, this is a bit. When I switch on the damn light, there it is. Right. So over here we have, obviously it's the Mayan calendar, and it's more than just a calendar, because what's going on here is it's a compass. Now, have you ever noticed that this Mayan calendar is a compass? And it's the four corners of the world. But it's also the eight corners of the world. So, for some reason, they had northeast, southwest, and all this. So have you ever noticed? There's a modern compass on this, but there's more. Around the edge is Jormungandr, the Nordic world serpent. So the Nordic serpent wraps around the world, and at the end of time, Thor will cut him in half, breaking the world, destroying it, Ragnarok. Perhaps it's a memory of what happened long ago, back in 10,000 BC. So what the hell is that doing here? It's also like a ring around Saturn. What the hell is this doing in Mayan? I'm sure they got this from the Mayans, the Aztec/Mayan mythology. It's just fascinating. Now, what else do I have around the house? So this thing here, do you see that? That is what I showed you before, the Egyptian chevron, but here is an Indian version. Press the wrong button. So what we have here happening is there are three women around this vase. So again, the pouring water goddess that you see in Egyptian mythology, and it's fertility. They're fertile looking women, aren't they? Aren't they looking fertile there? And the bird goddess is the goddess of the female. She's holding the pine cone symbol. That looks like a pine cone, but do you see they're standing around? That's not just a vase. That's a tree. They're standing around the tree of Eden. So Eve was a triple goddess. So again, we have the triple goddess, just like the horses are. So that version of the Egyptian tapestry wasn't really an Egyptian tapestry. It wasn't from Egypt or anything. Like, it's just a modern representation, but it just goes to show, even in ancient representations, modern representations, we have ancient stuff happening. So that's Indian. That's beautiful. So over here we have Bud. Now this is Bud, and Bud is a fat man. Now, I've talked about Bud before. Bud is actually the underworld giant. Now, do not confuse this with Buddhism or Gautama Buddha. This is, it's a different thing, really, isn't it? Bud, it's Buddhism because it's Zen, but they worship the Buddhists worship many different prehistoric statue gods. This is just one of them. This is not Buddhism. This is Bud, a much older ancient god, but because he's fat, the reason they depict him as fat is so it's easy to depict a giant horizontally, because otherwise you have to make a very tall totem pole to show a giant, right? Don't you? So this is basically the underworld giant, and the reason is he's red. Often you see Buddha's red. You know, he's green or he's red. So if he's green, he's the green man. If he's red, he's Loki, the underworld god, the fallen astronaut who fell to heaven long ago and decided to teach his ancient technologies to humankind. So he taught humankind about letters and about medicine and about all these technologies and all these different things. And you can read about these technologies in lost books of the Bible that were taken out of the Bible because they couldn't decipher what the radio transmitters and things they were talking about. Check out information about that. Presented for the first time to the world in my book, Confessions of the Gods. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I don't think I've got anything else. Cheerio, guys. It's been fun. This is a sequel to the totem pole video to show you that around the home you have a lot of pagan mythology. Even the most radical Christians have surround themselves with pagan mythology. One thing I forgot. It's my bathroom. And in here, we've got this thing happening. Again, it's Bud. And you notice he's asleep. There's a few things about him. He's got a pyramid on his head. And then he's sort of wearing a kind of tree on his head as well. Now, the pyramid is interesting. The pyramid shows that the pyramid is above him on the ground level, so he's below ground level. He's a sleeping giant. Now, you've probably heard of the sleeping giant. For example, King Arthur and also Frederick Barbarossa. Well, Frederick Barbarossa is under a mountain somewhere, and he's sleeping until Germany needs him again. King Arthur is sleeping until Germany needs him again. These were probably associated long ago with the ancient giant legends. So King Arthur is very prehistoric. He's certainly not Dark Ages. Like, everyone's looking for King Arthur in the Dark Ages, writing all these books, and they find a guy in an obscure tiny little kingdom somewhere. Oh, he's King Arthur because his name's similar. No. King Arthur ruled the whole Britain, the whole of Western Europe, the whole of that Beaker Empire. The Beaker People Empire in Western Europe is King Arthur's kingdom. So he's a prehistoric guy. I mean, damn, if Merlin built Stonehenge, does that put him in the Dark Ages? It puts him in the ancient world, and there's been books about this. But anyway, check out this fascinating character. So that's, again, Bud, the underworld giant, but it's got some pyramid religion in there. And notice there's some energy going on in the pyramid. There's some fluctuating waves and a central power core. Now, I find that very fascinating as well. And there's more. Look, the horns of the bull. That's like the front of a tomb. In addition, that is the moon. So, even a bit of moon goddess, a bit of femininity in there as well. There's more. You see that? Elongated long ears. So Buddha is often depicted, or Bud is depicted as a long-eared person. The ears are bigger, as we said in the totem pole video. So he's got ears, and they're even bigger. Because these were three faces. So it's a triple god, and the triple god is the pyramid religion. If you want to know more about that, check how the pyramid religion is the triple god. Check out my book, Pyramid, what's it called again? I forget what it's called. It's called something about Giza, the Lost Gods of Giza, the Finding the Origin of Pyramids, or something like that. Check it out on Amazon. Just search my name, you'll find it. It's right there, guys. It's amazing. So three faces, and presumably that's a world tree. That's a kind of foliage, and that's, or it's an afro. Who knows? And the pyramid, and the energy in the sky. Oh, it's even got a spiral. So you see this in ancient Ireland. In ancient Ireland, you have spirals. And the Dogon, who come from North Africa, these represent the earliest traditions we can actually interpret, because these people were interviewed in the 20th century and they told us what the spiral means. We don't know it. We can't go to Ireland and ask them what the spiral in the tombs means. The spiral, they say, means the spiral of creation. And they also have triangular chevrons as well. Each chevron represents 20 years, or a Jupiter-Saturn conjugation. Jupiter and Saturn come together and pull apart that happens once every 20 years. It was one of their prehistoric cycles, similar to the 19-year Metonic cycle at Stonehenge. So they would have celebrated a cycle every year. They would have celebrated the 19-year cycle, and the next year they would have celebrated the 20-year cycle of Jupiter and Saturn. So, now, when I said that was everything, I was just kidding. That was a little joke. The pyramid on top of the head, I've just noticed something, which I'm going to show you in a second. This is so exciting, so exciting. The pyramid on top of the head. That makes this man the underworld serpent inside the earth. So that's the earth, and these are orbits, planets. That means these are planets, and it's an earth-centric system with a pyramid on top. It shows he's under the pyramid. And this is exactly the hypothesis I came up with in my book on pyramids. I said the pyramids are for the fallen giant, the fallen astronaut god. It's as simple as that. They are built in his honor. And we see more pyramids around there. There's pyramid religion in here. It's fascinating. But it's also a solar system. It's not just a calendar. It's many things. That's why it's so good. It's a solar system. It's Nordic mythology, which is same as world mythology, because the Nordics conquered much of the world in ancient times, though that's unknown. I thought it was over, but nothing is really ever over, is it? So last year I picked up those two Art Deco things. I thought I'd put them on the mantelpiece over there, but because I was doing some interior decoration, but it didn't really work. So they're there. They're Art Deco looking. They've got no mark or anything, so they're probably reproductions. But do you notice something? Now, let me get rid of that. If I put these two together like that, it's not much. It's two birds looking at each other. They're supposed to be like that, which of course is Gandabarunda, the double-head eagle. So I said in a video, this must be a memory of an ancient. It's actually possibly an ancient aircraft which had two pilots in it. Hence the two heads, the two brains in it. You look at Arjuna's chariot in ancient Hindu mythology. It was driven by Shiva or Krishna, and Arjuna behind. A chariot has two drivers, two heads. It's a flying chariot. Ganda Barunda on world flags. So I picked up this lamp. I thought, that looks interesting, And on the lamp is it's basically it's a world tree. Look at the foliage. And there's light coming out of the world tree, and it's even like these even look like wings almost. And down here it's cornucopial through the world, and these are like horns or acorns, a bit of the holly. This is stuff you see in medieval churches, and they later took it out. This stuff is just amazing. So you see so much of this around your house that you don't know where to begin. This mask over here, that bloke. So basically, sweat of the sun, tears of the moon. So he's actually crying silver. So this is the moon goddess. This is not the solar goddess. Because of the silver, that mask is the moon goddess. Also a resurrection goddess. So this is fertility. It's death. The masks were death, but death means new life. So it's fertility. Again, the very long ear, which sort of comes down to the mouth. Ears kind of stop about there, don't they? So again, triple-faced god, as we saw it was originally three faces, as we saw in in an earlier video on totem poles. Isn't that fascinating? And you see, I even put the moose over there. So the moose above the fireplace. So what does that mean? So the moose is the horns. So it's the horned one. Again, it's the male fertility. Again, it's and it's why above the fireplace? This is done in interior decoration kind of stuff. I'm not very good at that, but I try my best. But because of that, it's what we see in Catalhoyuk in Turkey. We see horns in the heart of the home, in the hearth, the fireplace, of the home. I mean, that's just incredible. Absolutely incredible how much is in our homes. Now, I got a lot of old stuff. Someone said I'm living in a geriatric house. Let me correct that person. This is an architectural style. It is called Art Deco / mid-century modern. So here we have a mid-century modern style thingy. It is technically a thingy and it's broken. I just plugged it in and it doesn't seem to be working. I filled it with water. Now what's supposed to happen is the water's supposed to pour down here like that, right? So the pump's busted, but when it's turned on. So what's going on here is basically this is oh, I can't believe it, it's working. You know what? No wonder they worship the goddesses. So this is basically what I would call the pouring water goddess who stands around the tree of Eden. So under the hill of world, and you had to understand the whole Eden story, you need to look into the world mountain story. So this woman, she's standing on some rock or something. So this is world mountain. Under world mountain is the three goddesses who poured water out of a urn. And that's what's going on here. So we have an ancient goddess from pre-2000 BC in a mid-century modern thingamy-bob. That's unbelievable. You know, and, you know, it just goes on. So my mum had this and I said, oh, can I have that? Because it's actually a triple goddess. So, you know, so we have the three women, the three ladies, the three hags, whatever, depending on how old they are. And do you notice? So their breasts are the spiral of creation, but also the four compass points. Now, I don't know who the hell came up with this. It's not an ancient thing, it's a modern thing, but someone modern channeled the ancient information, all the ancient themes into this. It's just amazing. Their headdresses are the universe, the whole universe. The compass we saw earlier in the Aztec calendar. The fish, it's a fish god. So the origin of the teachers of mankind in a silver spacesuit or something like that. These four patterns, compass patterns, arrows. Arrows is Artemis. Artemis, the triple goddess, huntress of the animals. So hence the animals as well. And the serpent. So there's a serpent. So if you see serpents, if you see birds, that's the female triple goddess. If you see Bud, Loki, that's kind of the male version. Although Loki, I'm not sure Loki was ever a triple god. He's more like the god under the triple god, who the triple god threw out of heaven. And of course the male triple god was married to a female triple god. So you actually have 6 gods together. And if you have 6 gods together, why not 12? Hence the sacred 12. You have a sort of meeting of 2 different triple gods with their consorts. Yeah, that's so amazing. And that, I think... So guys, let's go over here and I'm going to show you something interesting. So you see that there? Now that is basically an alien. Now you see how short he is? He's 2 foot tall. I painted the eyes, you know, to look like my eyes, because I wanted to have, you know, a twin, you know, so there we go. But that's an alien. It's a Pacific idol. It's a tiki idol. It's not old, it's a reproduction, obviously. It's not made of wood, it's made of ceramic. And he's got a funny face. And I haven't really seen what's going on under there, but it seems another god down there, but they haven't really depicted that. He's got arms and he's got legs. And he's got the weirdest countenance. But the huge eyes, the huge head, about the height of an alien. A bit weird, or a ghost, or something like that. So over here, I made this it's kind of like a Bali hut, sort of. And so this is my temple, right? And so that is a god. I'll put the name of the god in the description, but he's basically a joke. As you can see, he's a Joker god. He's also obviously a death god. He's got the big alien eyes. Again, it's a type of alien. The tongue out, he's different to the normal tiki idol. And that's a very, very interesting thing as well. The tongue out, he's a kind of Bud as well. He's a giant. He's got a big face. He's very similar to, this is what the New Zealanders do to scare people away. The Maoris, they stick their tongue out in their ceremonies. It's quite interesting. This fella here is a regular tiki, so a Pacific god, and this is basically similar to that alien. And you'll see it's very similar to Northwest Totem Pole. It's got the foliage and like a weird face. So there we go, paganism, well, around your home. So now you understand everything about everything. Artemis, we know Artemis because of the arrow, and she's got the ancient Greek helmet, and she's got wings. Wings, like Geryon, wings on the medical representation, the DNA, the intertwined DNA, because she creates the animals with the DNA. And the wings, of course, very interesting, the bird goddess. So it shows the earlier form of Artemis, which even the ancient Greeks were not really aware of, is the triple goddess who was associated with birds and snakes. On the top, a kind of trident, like more like a Neptune thing. I don't know where this is from. Not quite sure, really. So tiki stuff. Now, do you notice the thing about tiki is the colours? Again, the long face, like Easter Island, but this is from elsewhere in the Pacific, although it's just a reproduction. Maybe it's made in China, I don't know. I just got it from eBay. This one's actually a bit of an abomination because it's done in Aboriginal colours, which just cannot be. But the colours are seen in the Pacific, and that obviously relates to what we see in the Pacific Northwest. So there is a relation between the cultures, an ancient relation. The very long face that we see is actually what we see in the oldest idols, the Shigear idol. It's fascinating. And on this bodyboard, now that guy is clearly Vulcan, the fire god, but he's also a tiki. So tiki, this it's an interesting clue that these are used as torches and stuff. So Vulcan, tiki god, Loki. The tiki god is a bad guy, and that's what we're seeing from that weird alien outside, which is basically called an aku. The aku is the visual form of a ghost, and the aku is built probably to scare off other akus, presumably, and you're loyal to the aku, so it keeps you safe from the other akus. That's the explanation I would have for Easter Island as well. Just fascinating. Just fascinating, guys. So interesting. If that's not it, I don't know what is. I really don't know what is. Damn. Show off my rock collection while I'm here. So, Uluru. So that's the red surface patina from Uluru. These are just found on the ground. So Uluru. And not even near Uluru, just far away, and they have the same. So that there is Petoskey fossils from Michigan, because there was some cosmic bombardment catastrophe which created the Great Lakes. I think we bought those. Yep. That's my dad's knife. So this is rocks from a volcano in Victoria. That's a rock from the top of another volcano from Victoria. So the more bubbly the rock, the higher it floats. So that's floated to the top of the volcano. So I found that right on the top. And some more. And I got some more rocks somewhere else, but that's, yeah. Cheerio, ladies and gents. I hope you've enjoyed this tour of what you can find around your own home. Guys, I'm amazed. It's incredible.